Alright, hello. Welcome to another video of mine. As you can see, I have a new webcam. My computer is fixed thanks to a bunch of people that I'm gonna name, and we can continue making videos. So this will be a small discussion video where you can actually see my face and my facial expressions to kind of realize where I'm coming from with what I'm gonna talk about, and it's gonna be the latest Devstream about Warframe 1999 and the good and the bad stuff about it, but we will talk about that later. First of all, thank you to Father Elective, Mo403, Poison Bite, Beer, and Silver. I don't know if you want to be called Beer or Bear, that's fine by me either way, but thank you for the donations and the help that you did to get me back on making videos, getting my PC back, and all that. The camera already had it with another graphics card, and everything is ready now, so I can actually play. I can actually stream with probably better bitrate, and I can actually record and do more videos way easier on many different games as well. So we will see that in the future, probably. For now, let's talk about the dev stream. So the dev stream showed us a bit of glimpse about 1999. A lot of people expected to hear the release date of 1999, which didn't happen unfortunately, but that's fine. Game Awards are right around the corner. It will be sorry, we will have the release date there and everything will be fine. What I want to talk about is the actual content in 1999 and what I saw. And there was some good parts and there were some bad parts. First of all, to start this, I will say that I'm a huge lore fan of Warframe. I think the new war is probably the best quest out of every MMORPG game that I've played, and I have played a lot of MMORPGs, and I think the narrative and all that from New War, it's on its peak, absolute peak, and I absolutely love it. So you can understand that I am very excited for 1999 still to play the actual quest, especially since Loader's Eaters was not giving me anything about the quest, sadly, and I had to follow a Kavat for a minute to essentially get nothing, really. So that was a bit disappointing. But here is what comes with 1999. So we know about the new tileset. New tileset looks great. I was hoping it was gonna be more open world because the bike is nice. It would be a great way to traverse through the tileset instead of the Arcwind, to actually ride the bike around and do random missions that may appear, have NPCs inside houses, do something like that. That would be very, very exciting. Unfortunately, it's not an open world. It's something like a new tileset, like the Zariman tileset, which, I mean, it's fine as it is, but I'll come back to that point later. The missions, we have two new mission types. First of all, we heard something about an endless capture mission, which I'm not sure how that's gonna work or how tanky the capture target will be at level cap, but that was definitely interesting to hear. A level cap capture mission. We'll have to see how that plays out. It's a new endless mission if it happens, so I'm all for it. I love endless missions. I love variety in endless missions, and I love endless missions that scale really fast, like the circuit, like disruption missions, and like Void Cascade. So this is definitely a new welcome addition if it's done well. The player versus enemies mode, PvPvE, whatever you call it, it's a mix of game modes we've seen from Destiny and from Division 2. And overall, it is something that I am extremely excited about, but it is also something that I'm afraid will be not very skill heavy, or it will be not very squad heavy. So I say this because as a game mode, it is a great idea. Warframe needed something like this for a very, very long time. But there needs to be some reason to try and win on that game mode. Like, I've seen so many people complain that, oh my god, the losing team and the winning team should get the same loot. But that kind of defeats the purpose of the game mode. If you play that game mode, you would want to get different rewards for winning so that you can invest in better gear. That makes sense. And especially because you don't actually face off against each other, you just battle for how many kills each one of the team gets. It's even better like this. It is definitely the right approach to doing this, and it is something that I wanted to have in the game for a very long time. And I was also hoping there was a way to maybe sabotage the enemy team if you do a specific milestone, which would be very fun. But sadly, we don't have that. Unfortunately, it would be very good. We'll have to see how that game plays out. I'm very excited for it. It's really nice. But yeah, now for the bad stuff. Or actually, no. we have one more good stuff. We have Sight and the reworks. Well, reworks will, yeah. So Sight, his abilities look tremendous, to say the least. He is a gun focus frame, just like Kome, that was released last time. And gun focus frames are right up my alley. I love Wisp, I love Mirage, I love Garuda. They are warframes that I really enjoy. And punch through mechanic, weak points mechanic with your sniper, all of that, he sounds very exciting to me, even though some of my people in Discord didn't agree. I thought Side was absolutely fantastic, and I thought, just from reading his abilities before the Devstream, I knew that I would like him, and after seeing his abilities in the Devstream, I knew what I would be liking more, even though Rebecca's aim was kind of, yeah, not it. Regardless, I really like what I saw from that, but now for the actual bad stuff, I will have to say that, first of all, Nyx rework good. Some really decent changes. I was really hoping for an actual rework to her 1, because her 1 is very gimmicky. It didn't get a rework, you have just a new icon that tells you how much percent damage the enemy that you have possessed gains. And the possessed enemy is a bit more aggressive, so you can take aggro easier and all that. If they increase his the amount of aggro he can get, if they make him like Loki decoy and something, that ability will be broken. But Loki will also be in the mud. Loki might just need to get buffed similarly if that happens. But regardless, I think the ability would be way more interesting if it was reworked completely to something about a lot mind control-ish, something that has to do with you hitting headshots and then the enemy does something if you hit him on the head or something like that. Like you mark him, hit him on the head, and then something happens. You know that there could be a lot of stuff for that instead of just having mind control, still an ability from all the way back in 2013. And I'm not really sure why it had to stay that way, but overall the other changes, massive crit chance buffs for primary and secondary, very welcome. Massive buffs to her third ability working properly and not enemies actually shooting you, but instead getting rat proc to hit other enemies all the time. Absolutely amazing. New passive, very good. Scales well with radiation weapons too, because it will probably matter if enemies have radiation procs or not, and it only needs to be 5 enemies, which in Steel Path you do most of the time. And then her 2 steals defenses like Overguard, shields, really good, very good for shield gating builds, very good for Overguard gating builds. Not that you really need them because the new 4th ability is absolutely bonkers. The new 4th ability, I don't know if people saw the Devstream, but basically now you press it, you can move around normally, up and down as well, which is nice, and you absorb not only the damage that enemies do to you, but the damage that enemies do to each other. And it's not a tap ability and then tap again to disable. It's an ability that is duration based now, like Nessus 1, like similarly how they did it to Nessus 1. And also, when the ability closes, you get the weapon damage buff as you already had, but you also gain an invincibility timer, invulnerability if you want to call it that you don't take damage for a specific amount of time that is set depending on how much damage you took. Now, I don't know if there will be a cap on this, but I can imagine if you take Nyx to level cap, you could probably get this to be around 5 minutes of invulnerability very easily. Level cap enemies do a lot of damage, and D said that it's 5 seconds per 5,000 damage or something, which is pretty crazy, or like 1 second per. I don't remember the exact number. I remember 5,000 damage and then timer. When level cap enemies do 100,000 damage per shot, and then they hit each other, they hit you, and you can stack millions and millions and millions of damage very easily. Haru can already do it. Nyx will be even better because she stacks from multiple enemies shooting each other and her. So, yeah, I think Nyx rework will be really good, even though it could have been way more interesting with a different new ability. But the bad thing about it is that Assimilate didn't get any changes. So, if you don't know what Assimilate is, it's her augment right now that lets her walk around at 50% speed and use her weapons while using her 4th ability. D said that this augment doesn't need any changes, which is absolutely stupid in my opinion. Why would you ever use this augment now that the 4th ability works the way it does? Why wouldn't I just use the fourth ability, get my damage up, get my invulnerability up, and then play with my weapons? It's like 100,000 times better. Why would I just fit in assimilate, drain my energy per second for damage I'm taking and all that, and just whatever? It makes no sense. It legit makes no sense. Assimilate should have got an actual rework on how it works, maybe to turn the ability to deal more damage or something, or keep that fantasy of using the weapons while being on your absorb, but do something different with it and potentially let you keep your speed on top of that. I just don't see the reason to use it now. It's kind of weird. Up next, Trinity. Obviously, we've seen the buffs. Trinity buffs are cool. We'll have to see how the numbers are tweaked a bit to see how strong she will actually be. So I will wait for that, definitely. She has potential. There are stuff for her. We've seen that quite a few. I think the last Devstream was when we saw that. Yeah. So I don't really have to talk about this. It's already known, and we have our assumptions on that. And I think most people would be very excited for that. Now for the actual update. Despite sight, we're not getting a lot. So we're for weapons, we're only getting 2. Well, the AX52 we got for free. You can buy it if you missed it. But it's come back if I believe so. And then you have Side 09's weapons, which are the Vesper and I don't remember the other primary weapon, but it looked like a Permanent Prime. It was kind of interesting. But in a scenario where you have the absolute best chance to make sort of real life weapons come into the game with different mechanics to make them interesting, you give me only 3 real I'll call them real life weapons. You only give me 3 real life weapons. That is extremely disappointing. There are new mods, there are new arcanes that were to be expected, kind of. The mods not so much, but the arcanes definitely. Every update has new arcanes. It's like the trend now. But no new weapons, and especially in this thematic that could have been so cool. Everybody loves the feels of the AX52. Everybody loved the feel of the Vesper because they look like IRL weapons and they feel meaty. They feel really good to use. Their damage might not be the best, but who cares? If you like the weapon, just use it. And I was hoping for more, to be honest, from this update, more weapons like this. And well, the Coda being delayed, people say this is the most disappointing part. I agree, but to an extent. So when I was watching the dev stream, I kind of expected to see a lot of stuff, but I kind of expected for D to say, well, we might want to delay it because vacation is coming and we will not release it broken and then go on vacation without being able to fix it. That is probably a bad idea. But instead, they took out the Coda weapons and then said, we will just release 9-99, which I don't think it was the best decision. There is a lot of hype around 9-99, but if you delay the whole update and say, we have some fixes to do, and if we go on vacation, we won't be able to apply these fixes, this is a lot better way to do that than delay the whole thing that a lot of people have been hyped about, which is the Coda weapons, the Infested Leech weapons. Infested Leech weapons were a thing that people imagined ever since the Tenet weapons back in Deadlock Protocol in 2021, I think? Oh, 2020. I don't remember. Sisters of Arvos, 2021, sorry. Deadlock Protocol is earlier. But it's a long time, It's 3 years. It is a very long time that we were expecting some infested leeches, and when we actually got them, we were like, holy shit, we're gonna get all these amazing weapons. Coda Hema, Coda, I don't know, something like Coda Pokes, Coda this, Coda that. Our minds were completely obliterated because we were like, finally, we have the chance to use Coda Synapse. We have the chance to use a better weapon of my favorite infested weapon and actually make the use of it. Have you ever thought how many people thought, oh, I love this weapon, I love the Hema, for example, but it's not strong enough, so I have to use this. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I myself, I was kind of disappointed about it when I heard that only the Coda weapons were being delayed and not the whole update. That was kind of a lot worse in my opinion, but that's just me. And then the other thing that I was really frustrated about were the rewards we were getting. So, as I said, one Warframe 3 weapons on the whole thing. The rest is cosmetics. And not even good cosmetics like orbiter decoration or something. We have glyphs and music, soma chord tones. So like, let's be, let me be straightforward here. There are so many people that said, "Oh, I'm excited to get the soma chord codes." To these people, I can tell you that day one of the release of the update, the songs will be uploaded to YouTube and you can listen to them while gaming. It's insane to think that people are excited for MP3 files more than they would be excited for like new weapons and shit. It's not real. Then like Soma chord tones, then glyphs. It's just, as I don't know if you saw Mr. Warframe guy's video, but he showcased those and he was like, "Yep, don't care." Soma chords, don't care. Like, it makes sense. We don't care. Why would we care about this? Why would we not care about posting a very good update with a variety of new weapons to choose from that you can build? Just like the Zariman update, it came with 3 completely new Incarnon weapons as well, which Incarnon weapons are essentially 2 weapons as one. So it's not 3 weapons, it's 6 weapons that we get, essentially. Right? And instead, on this update, we get 2 normal weapons. And it's just, it's extremely disappointing. It really is. Then we have the dating simulator. So there are some people that care about the dating simulator. To these people, you can play other games and other dating sims on Steam, and I'm sure they would be a lot more fun because you would actually get the experience that you deserve. The dating simulator that is being added to Warframe, that you just chat to other characters through a computer, I don't really understand why there would need to be so much investment onto it. And it definitely has investment onto it. They said so because they said it has like 600,000 words. It's a lot. It's a lot to code for because you have to amount the words to code into specific phrases that the player gets, and there these phrases that get a line of code that, depending on what the player chooses, you get a different phrase, and then there will be another phrase, and then depending on that, whatever, and then it just extends into this massive tree of phrases that it is really hard to code. So coding wise, it is really hard to do that. Yes, it takes a very, very long time to do that. But it's gonna be like 20 to 30% of the player base maximum that uses it. Sadly. The player base doesn't really care about getting to know the characters better or even dating them. The player base cares about getting those cool weapons, those cool arcanes, those cool mods to get stronger. They care about the story. This is another thing that I wanted to say. Okay, since the update isn't really filled with content outside of the cosmetics, I really hope that the quest is on another level. That the quest is like an hour long at least. I really hope so. Because you have to understand, the new war, it took me. Wait, I can actually check right now because I have uploaded my playthrough to YouTube. The new war took me 3 hours and 38 minutes to complete. Okay? New War is an amazing quest. And 1999 also has the potential to be an amazing quest because it's structured correctly. And I really hope it is, but I hope it's a long, amazing quest. I hope it answers many of my questions about the man in the wall, about Albrecht, about a lot of stuff, right? What Kalimos is doing, what's his purposes, what is the Kalimos sequence exactly, and why we need to stop it. All of that. Like, there is a lot of things that are happening lore-wise, and 1999 can answer these questions as long as the quest is long. So, all this is great. So, the update, as an update by itself, isn't bad. It's not a bad update. What is bad about it is that the update has been in development for 1.5 years. And that's where I wanted to put the most emphasis in this video. We have been teased and hyped about this update since TennoCon 2023, where at the end, Albrecht and Trati said, "You're late," and you could hear the crowd doing the countdown in the background that they recorded in that TennoCon, and it was one of the most cool things that I've ever seen in a TennoCon. It was so hype, okay? It looked absolutely insane. So you can tell that this update is in a development for a very long time. So my point is that not only has D done better within that amount of time frame in the past, which I will get to, other companies and studios that are as big as these now have released insane games within 1 or even 1.5 years. And those two companies that I will personally mention at least will be Valve, where they released Left 4 Dead 2 all the way back, I think in 2007 was released, right? I don't remember. But it was released within a year. And within a year for Left 4 Dead 2, it is an insane game, okay? And obviously they have the engine ready and everything, but they have to build everything upon that engine, just like Warframe has the engine to build the update, and then they have to build everything about the update on that engine. And then the other game I will mention is Fallout New Vegas. The game took 18 months to make, which is pretty crazy. It's exactly 1.5 years. So for 1.5 years of development on the 1999, you kind of expect more. I mean, with Coda weapons, you would probably be fine, and that's why I was considering, like, maybe it's like a good idea because they go on vacation to actually delay the whole update, and then D decides to only delay the Coda weapons to kind of keep on the 1999 hype, which, yeah, sure, I can agree on to a point, but it's gonna turn a lot of players away from playing the update, or after the update. Like, the updates for the first few weeks will have a massive player increase, and then because the veterans, most veterans will not have anything new to play with besides the mods and the arcanes, they will probably get bored and leave the game again, just like has happened right now, where we have one of the biggest content drops and one of the biggest player drop in Warframe. I think Warframe hit its lowest player count at one time ever since 2019 or something, which is pretty crazy. We went down to like 28,000 players at some point. 28,000 players is quite unhealthy if you look at the Steam charts. Playing concurrently, that is. So it is something, definitely, to think about when you're seeing the update, and I would really hope to see more guns on the updates and more guns like the Vesper, like the X52. These are very cool guns, real life focused guns work in Warframe, and they work really well. They provide aesthetics. Aesthetics are very important when you're making a gun. People will use a gun even though it's shit if it feels amazing. People use the Gotva Prime not because Gotva Prime is good, but because it sounds, it feels meaty, and it has the recoil to back it up to feel that kind of way, and the sound to back it up as well. You know? It's a great example. So, yeah, it's... For me, the Devstream was kind of disappointing in that nature. There were a lot of stuff that I was excited about, but there were... The update feels like it's lacking some content for me, personally. Because in my opinion, I will play the quest, I will get the new stuff, like the new weapons, the Title 9, the new arcanes, the new mods. but it won't take me that long. To be completely honest, I won't even waste platinum. If you look in game, I have 0 platinum right now. I will not waste platinum on the update, and even so, it will probably not take me long at all, which is the thing that I wanted to focus about. And I just hope that we can get more weapons to tie in with 1999. The weapons are cool, and I'm repeating that process all over because I think new weapons can give content even if they're bad, just because they're new weapons and they can feel good to the people that play them. And honestly, we have potential through the 1999 update. We have to use the potential on the things that matter. If we go for a new endless mission, we have to ensure that this new endless mission has good rewards and that it's good to play. And that will bring people to play it. Or for example, the new PvPvE mission, it can be really, really good. And if we make more, capitalizing on what we've learned through this one, we can have a long-lasting game mode that people will play, unlike Conclave, that will actually yield rewards that most of the player base were not able to get up till now. The Conclave rewards. Nobody plays Conclave. So there is definitely stuff that we can do for the update, and there is definitely stuff to look forward to the update. But I personally, after I'm done getting my stuff on the updates, I will not stop playing, but I will stop playing as much, and I will stop making videos as much, try to explore a bit of variety. I have been playing Binding of Isaac on stream, and it's really nice. Have the better PC now to buck up doing variety streams and trying Elden Ring for this first time on stream. I'm a big Souls fan. I'm a big Nier fan. There's a lot of stuff that I can do. I can play old games. I have a wheel I can use if I want to stream any racing games. I have potential to do that. So I want to explore it. But at the same time, I don't want to leave Warframe. Warframe will still remain my main game. And when we get more stuff, when we get Coda weapons and we will get all that, I will be able to see a lot more. But for now, with what we saw on the Devstream, I'm not really a big fan of what's coming in Warframe 1999. Now, for the last point that I wanted to talk about is the point that I was talking about with old updates versus new updates. So, I'm gonna real quick hide my camera and show something. So, this is a small text that I did. So, the Garuda script right here. So, first open world with day-night cycle. So this is the Planes of Eidolon update. If you're not aware how the Planes of Eidolon update played out, TennoCon 2017 happens, right? So if we go to TennoCon 2017 and go to the highlight video real quick, we can see that there is not a lot of people here. This is the reveal of Planes of Eidolon, the first open world we have. And as you can see, it's not something, it's just a big room with some people.
I cannot wait to see it all come together.
You guys did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Founders, YouTubers that you know, were very excited about Warframe back then. Now it's like,
stuff, but this one's free.
You know, and back then in 2017, they weren't such a big studio. So right now, if we look at the Planes of Eidolon update, the update came out on October 12th, 2017. Only 3 months after the reveal that happened on TennoCon. The update itself brings the first open world with day and night cycle. It introduces a ton of new mechanics and farming methods, the mechanics being something like the Arcwing launcher, and the farming methods being the first fishing, mining, and hunting. Even though not very polished back in the day, it's like a big step to what's about to come with Fortuna, with all these new open worlds, and it's a mechanic that is a staple now in Warframe. It brought a quest, which sadly, it's a really bad quest. Saya's Vigil, in my opinion, it is one of the worst quests in the game. Now, this is not a big problem because the update itself brings a lot of other stuff to the table that is a lot more exciting. And you have to excuse when back in 2017, they're not yet that big company that can actually invest into making this game way better. You can understand that now D is focusing on the second game, Soulframe, so they definitely have the resources to actually do great stuff onto Warframe and Soulframe at the same time. If they didn't, they wouldn't make Soulframe to begin with. It's that simple. So then we have the first craftable weapons for both the melee class and the operator. No more base operator weapons. So I'm not sure if you know, but old operator, he didn't have any weapons. He had basic abilities and all that, and he had like a small triangle like what do you call it? He there wasn't any dot in the middle. There wasn't any dot. There was a triangle that was shaped kind of like a heart, and it would drain depending on the energy that you used on your amp. And your amp had very low damage. It was the basic operator amp that everyone starts with when they play the new war. So definitely not great. Then we come to this and we can actually craft operator amps and we can actually craft even melee weapons, then which gives us a huge variety of new weapons to play with. Then we have the first proper focus hull rework coming with that, because Operator himself got completely reworked because he now has the new weapons. He now has finally something that I will mention later, which is the arcanes for him. And he has a lot of stuff going on. The first bounty system in the game came from Sirius, even though Sirius at the start was kind of broken. The bounty system was one of the few things that most of the time would not bug out. You wouldn't like lose the capture target, nothing would happen. That was very weird. And it's the only real thing that was bad about the bounty system when it was released was that the actual standing you would get from bounties was way too low because there were no bonus stuff if you did the bounty under 3 minutes, let's say, and all that. That got introduced with Fortuna and then added to status. So that comes way later. Then we have the first proper endgame boss, which was the Eidolons. So I have a note that says the maximum was 4.4 times 3 or 5 times 3 back in the day with an insanely max squad. So operators, obviously, they didn't have the crazy arcanes we have today. So taking down the shields, you would need a lot of coordination with your team, and you would need to insanely max it to even do a 5 times 3 in a single night. So to understand how big Eidolons were for the game, before Eidolons were in the game, we had the raids, Law of Retribution and all that. Law of Retribution boss was just a buffed up version of Vehek, and as a boss, he was extremely underwhelming. The real hardest boss in the game at the time was level 100 Sortie Kella Dethaim. Level 100 Sortie Kella Dethaim. If you play this boss now, it's the biggest piss is the thing you've ever seen in your life. So yeah, we get 2 new Warframes. First is Gara instantly, and then Revenant gets added with a hotfix, I believe, or in the next update. And then a lot of new weapons. We have all of Gara's weapons, and then all of Revenant's weapons, and also we have all the new weapons that we can craft, plus some other stuff like the dual carries and the Cronin thing. There were some weapons, the Baza, for example, was added on this update. There were a lot of other weapons that were added on this update. This is the next one, which is the most important for me, the Plague Star event. So Plague Star as an event is the most successful event that Warframe has ever seen to this day. The Plague Star event was something else. Whenever it comes back, it brings players back into the game so they can play, get forma, upgrade their gear. It's that good. And honestly, I am hoping that it will come back someday. It's definitely the most successful. Like, compared to Scarlet Spear, compared to what recently we have, Plague Star is on a league of its own. So it's really hard to compare it to other stuff, and I'm not sure. So next we have what I said here, showcased on TonoCon 2017, released a few months later in October of the same year, which is crazy. And then we have revamped on the update for Planes of Eidolon. They revamped the stats of every primary and secondary weapon. I have forgotten to add that. It's every primary and secondary weapon in the entire game at that time getting a big buff, which is really big because melees were in a league of their own. They were unmatched completely, and within a boss like the Eidolons that melees cannot be used on, you would need the primaries and secondary weapons to feel better and to be invested on, just like you would do with the melee weapons from back in the day. So this was a very big point as well in terms of value. Then we have an insane amount of new arcanes. The Virtuos and Magus Arcane for operators, and then I think there were some arcane tricks when it comes to Warframes, but I'm not exactly sure about that. What is sure though is that the extraordinary arcanes for melee weapons were introduced, which is the first weapon-specific arcanes in the game, which is really nice as a touch. The first set mods in the game with a lot of new mods added on top of that. So the set mods, Gladiator, Hunter, Vigilante, Augur, that when you use them together they give you an extra bonus. They have been in the game since 2017, the exact same. No changes done to them and what they give. Zero. And it's like a very important step to adding variety to building in Warframe and adding stuff that could spice up the meta. Like Hunter Munitions was very, very big as a mod back in the day. A lot of hype around it. Gladiator mods, Gladiator Might, another crit damage melee mode that also gave you Blood Rush. There are a lot of mods from back in the day that were very popular amongst weapons, and they would make you way more powerful, and this definitely helped to bring the power up of every character, as well as making the game a bit more difficult with the Eidolons. So Planes of Eidolon is a really big update. We don't know how long exactly it took to make, probably a very, very long time, because even though it came out with a lot of bugs, obviously, it wasn't, first of all, it wasn't as broken as the Viri was, which is very, very nice to have. And second of all, the update still delivered a lot of things that you would want to play. So it gave you a lot of playtime. And then we have 1999, which gives us yet another syndicate. And why am I saying yet another syndicate? Because syndicates on their own are not that problematic. But when we add more and more syndicates to the game, if DE adds 2 more syndicates to the game, there will be way too many. People have not all the time in the world every day to play and do all the syndicates. And you have a new player now that will think, well, I have to do the City Syndicate, the Fortuna Syndicate, the Little Duck Syndicates, then my syndicates for the Orbiters like New Loka and all that, and then Cephalon Semaris, and then the Deimos, and then the Kavia standing, and then this, and then Zariman. It's insane. There is way too many syndicates. Already we're like close to the limit on what syndicates we can get. And, it works on its own, but if we add more and more to it, which, also you don't get standing when you play one syndicate, you get standing for the other syndicate. It doesn't work like that. So this is another island on its own that you have to devote time to it like it's its own game, which is, very draining for a player to play. You're wasting a lot of time for no reason. Then we have a new tile set that we didn't get to see a lot of on the Devstream, sadly. They showcased, I think, 2 missions. Yeah. A new boss that evolves. I like this. I like that the tank is not actually just a tank fight and we have a lot more coming to it, which is really nice. A quest. This is the biggest thing. The quest. As I said, the quest can carry this update if it's good, and I have high hopes that the quest will be good. But unfortunately, yeah. Also, type here, it's the new mission types. Three new weapons, which, you know, it's two really, it's not three. AX52 is not very new, it's new for those that missed it. 7 new arcanes, which is really nice. 15 new mods, which is also really nice, amazing. Always welcome to have new mods. And then glyphs and music, we talked about this. Dating simulator, we talked about this. Most of the people will not use it. One new Warframe, two Warframe's buffs, which, you know, when you don't actually rework how an ability looks like visually, like the abilities are visually the same. Nyx's 4 is still Absorb. Nyx's 1 is still Mind Control. Her 2, her 3, they are all the same names. They didn't change the names. They didn't change how they look. They just sort of work different. Her 4 works differently. The rest work the same. And yeah, it's just straight up buffs to the abilities. And Trinity sadly has the same thing. It's just buffs to the abilities again. And I was, as I said, very hopeful that Nyx would get an actual rework, and this just, yeah, it's calling them a rework is extremely over the top in my opinion. Still welcome, and I will still play the Nyx rework. As I said, it's not really a rework, it's a buff, but yeah. 7 to 8 new missions, so decent amount of missions. As I said, I was hoping that it was an open world where you could have random NPCs in houses that you could do favors for them while exploring the world and doing bounties, and I think that would be a way better way to go around it, which, you know, sadly it's not the case, but oh well, I'm fine with that. And then 2 new mission types, we talked about them. Always welcome to have new mission types, except especially when one is endless. Endless mission types are the best, definitely, when they're heavily polished. And the PvPvE is also a great mission with a lot of potential, especially in the way that it's done, that I'm hopeful that we get a lot of. And then no Coda weapons, sadly. So this is not what the update brings, by the way. This is what we saw on the Devstream. The update might come around and a lot more things might be added into the game, which I doubt. But, you know, the 2 new mission times, it might be more, we don't know that. 7 to 8 new missions, it might be more, we don't know that either, but that's what I saw at least. And yeah, things might change, but from the Devstream itself, you know, it's not the greatest, sadly. And I have Planes of Eidolon here because in comparison, it's a way stronger update. And even though it's a way stronger update, it's all the way back in 2017, 7 years ago, when it was a very small studio. And it was really changing the game drastically. And we had the same expectations for 1999. There were videos around that were saying this is going to change Warframe forever and all that. And sadly, it's not really that big. Now, there are some YouTubers that have tried to capitalize on the hype, and they have created clickbait stuff that says, wow, it will change the game, but it's not really that case. And when you actually talk to these certain YouTubers outside of their videos in Discord and all that, they will tell you that they are pretty disappointed about the update. I'm not scared to voice my opinion and say that I am disappointed on the Devstream. I will still play the update and I will still explore the stuff about the update. I am hoping it is good and I'm hoping the quest can carry the update. But in my opinion, there are a lot of missing opportunities in the update, and it could have been a way better update. Keep in mind, this update is in the works for at least 1.5 years, and within 1.5 years, with how big they is as a studio right now that it can make 2 games at the same time, they could have released something way better than this, and that's why I'm disappointed. Because the resources for this update didn't go in the correct stuff. They instead went into making glyphs, making music, and making a dating simulator. Which, you know, it's fine. I love these music. I have a playlist devoted to Warframe, which has a lot of new word tracks in. But it's a bit over the top when a lot of people, their highest value of the update is the actual music and not what's coming with it. It's kind of begs the question why the update got all this hype from the to begin with, when it's not giving, when it's kind of another Zariman update. Let's just say that. 1999 is sort of another Zariman update. And I hope it's not. If the quest is as good as New War, this update might be saved solely from that. But in terms of content, it doesn't have much, sadly. And that's all I have to say. So, what happens here from now on the channel, at least, I will continue making Warframe videos, and you will see more Warframe videos that will be about the stuff that are in the game, the new stuff, obviously, our series that we started where we are fixing MR weapons, where I'm buffing it to hell, basically. And, you know, I will then try to get my second channel a go with some variety content. You will see probably an Isaac video in there that I will post on my Discord, and I will keep doing streams. I will keep being myself and try my best, obviously. So yeah, thank you everybody for staying into this tech talk. You guys can, you know, comment whatever you want down below in the comments, argue with me, whatever. I'm not gonna answer most of the comments, hard anything. I'm completely transparent here. I don't want to argue with the Warframe community because I've seen some insanely bad claims, and I think people have toned down the standards a lot for Warframe, even though the game was supposed to evolve and not devolve as it is right now. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.